Why do we respire? We respire to get energy from food. Food contains stored energy. When we respire, the food is broken down in the cells of our body with the help of oxygen and energy is released. Define respiration. It is the process by which food is broken down in the cells of the body with the help of oxygen to release energy. Since respiration takes place in the cells of the body, it is called cellular respiration. And here is the word equation for cellular respiration. Glucose in presence of oxygen, it produces carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Types of respiration. There are two main types of respiration. They are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Define aerobic respiration. It is a type of respiration in which glucose is broken down in the presence of oxygen to release carbon dioxide, water, and energy. It takes place in most organisms. Define anaerobic respiration. It is the type of respiration in which glucose is broken down in the absence of oxygen to release alcohol, carbon dioxide, and energy. It takes place in yeast cells. In anaerobic respiration, in our muscle cells, glucose is broken down in the absence of oxygen to release lactic acid and energy. Here is the diagrammatic representation of aerobic respiration, which comprises of main three processes. Glycolysis, which produces 2-ATP by converting glucose to pyruvic acid. Then the Krebs cycle, which produces carbon dioxide as a result. Then electron transport chain. By using the energy from Krebs cycle, it produces around 36 ATP molecules and water molecules. Here is the diagrammatic representation of anaerobic respiration, and it comprises of two main processes. Number 1, glycolysis. In this process, only around 2 ATP molecules are produced as a whole due to the conversion of glucose to pyruvate. Number 2, fermentation. In this process, ethanol or lactic acid are produced depending on the type of organism where anaerobic respiration takes place, and also it produces carbon dioxide. How do we breathe? The respiratory system helps in breathing. The main parts of the respiratory systems are nostrils, nasal cavity, windpipe, lungs, and diaphragm. Breathing involves the rib cage and a muscular sheath below the chest cavity, which is known as diaphragm. During the process of inhalation, the chest cavity increases in size and the diaphragm moves down and the air enters into the lungs. During the process of exhalation, the chest cavity reduces in size and the diaphragm moves up and air is pushed out of the lungs. Here is a model to show the mechanism of breathing. It comprises of two main phases. Each component of the setup represents different parts of the respiratory system. White tube represents trachea and bronchi. Bell jar represents the chest cavity. Balloon represents the lung, whereas the sheath represents the diaphragm. Image number 1 or figure number 1. It represents the process of inspiration. When the sheath is pulled down, the pressure decreases in the bell jar. Therefore, air moves in, thus increasing the volume of the balloon. Figure number 2. When the sheath is released, the pressure increases. Therefore, air moves out, thus decreasing the volume of the balloon, and it represents the process of expiration. Breathing in other animals. Number 1, cockroach. Cockroach breathes through small openings in their body called spiracles. The spiracles are connected to air tubes called trachea. Oxygen-rich air enters through the spiracles and passes to the trachea to all cells in the body. Carbon dioxide from the cells passes to the trachea and spiracles out of the body. Number 2, earthworm. Earthworms breathe through their moist skin. The moist skin helps in the exchange of gases. Number 3, fishes. Fishes breathe through gills. The gills have blood vessels which help in the exchange of the gases. So that's the end of the session. Thank you everyone.